Let's hit it. Let's just do it live, baby.
Doing a podcast. Well, we got 10 downloads. Well, that's how it works.
We all were there once.
Yeah, I was there once. Dude, when we first did it, when Brian and I were first doing this podcast and we were doing it on like Ustream, we would have 200 viewers.
Did he say 200 at the end of that?
Yeah. What up, everybody? Welcome to Unfiltered and Unapologetic with Pick and Stein. Pick, you like that enthusiasm?
That was impressive. That woke me up right there. I didn't know what was it.
Gotta wake yourself up, get in character.
Yeah, get a little Matthew McConaughey going, baby.
I gotta get his new audiobook, and I'm looking forward to reading that.
Well, him on Joe Rogan, man. Yes. That guy. I love him. I love everything he has to say. I would like to believe he's a Trump supporter and voter, but he would not say on Fox. He wouldn't say. He wouldn't do it.
He said he's aggressively centric.
Yes.
But he did say he voted. I think we know who he voted for.
I don't know who else he voted for.
Which that's fine. I don't blame him. I don't blame him for not endorsing a candidate. I think that
unfortunately it would ruin his career if he did.
Yeah, for real.
That's the sad thing is he can't come out and say, because the only thing that gives me hope that he's a Trump supporter is the fact that he wouldn't say he's a Biden, right? Yeah. And if you are truly a Biden supporter, you wouldn't hesitate in that field to come out and say it, because every single movie exec out there is a Biden supporter pretty much. And how was it was good, man. I had a wedding last night. It started off that Olivia was going to be the DD. Classic. About halfway through, I realized there's no way she'll be able to drive home. So I realized that I had to stop drinking and drink water the rest of the night and let her continue to drink. So it was fun. It was a good time.
Sounds like classic Olivia.
Girls are just lighter weights, right? They can't drink as much as guys. That's just a stat right there. Just because of weight, mainly. But
you sexist son of a bitch. How dare you?
I'm gonna get canceled. I know I am. I'm gonna get cancel culture. Is gonna come after me. Where's Greta when you need her?
You drinking a beer right now?
Yeah, dude. Hey, #1 selling beer in America, baby.
Pickering Light.
Did you meet any hot girls in Nashville?
The highlight of my trip was I was at this bar, Miss Daisy's.
Nice.
Something like that. And I saw a guy with a big blue shirt that said in big bold letters, "Joe and the Ho vote no." And I thought that was a great shirt. I should have got one.
That is a great shirt. Did you ask him where he got it?
No, I didn't. But then they were like people driving around. This was one truck, and they all had the hockey mask on. Like, I think is it Freddie that wears the hockey mask? Or is that Michael Myers? No, it's Michael Myers.
No, that's Michael Myers in Halloween.
Halloween.
Where's the...
Yeah. All these guys were wearing those masks driving around this truck, and it sounded like they were playing creepy. The same song, which it sounded to me like it was just the song was saying "fuck Donald Trump," and like these like little, I don't know if this was like the Antifa Nashville branch, but then I saw another truck with a bunch of guys in the bed, and they had a big Trump flag, and they were just yelling Trump 2020. I saw a shit ton of Trump flags in Nashville, by the way.
Which honestly is surprising because, think about obviously how big Tennessee is, right? You've got the whole other rest of the state that are huge Trump supporters. So if in Nashville you also have Trump supporters, I mean, there's just no way. I mean, obviously Tennessee's not going to vote blue. They'll always be red. So I don't really see a chance of it going blue.
Honky Tonk Central had Trump flags. It's Kids Rock place.
Nice.
And I didn't see any Biden flags, but I did see a few Trump flags on a couple.
I'm sure there's plenty there.
Yeah.
A bunch of country artists live there too, though.
Yeah.
So I bet they're mostly. I would assume of any artists out there, country artists are more conservative. But 50 Cent, Ice Cube, apparently Waka Flocka is now endorsing Trump. So
I was shocked by that because I remember seeing a video of Waka Flocka in like 2016. Where it was like one of the younger ATOs actually, I think wore a MAGA hat to like Waka's concert at Georgia Theater. and he asked him for the hat, and the kid like gives his hat to Waka, and then Waka like acts like he's like wiping his ass with the hat, and it was like yelling fuck Donald Trump.
Was that Waka though? I thought that might have been someone else. Was that a different rapper there, or was that Waka?
I really thought that was Waka, but maybe I'm wrong, but I really thought that was him.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
And now?
But now look at him.
Look at him now. He's a MAGA man.
He's a MAGA man. Oh man, I watched this video on YouTube and I sent it to my family, but it's this video, this black guy that's pretty much campaigning for Trump outside of whatever city he's in. And he's got his buddy there and he's like, yo, you registered to vote? He's like, yeah. And he's like, who you voting for? And he's like, you already know I'm voting for Biden. And he's like, all right, well, why are you voting for Biden? He's like, because BLM and everything. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, let me tell you the facts. And so he starts to tell this guy all the facts about how Joe Biden is actually the racist and Trump is not a racist, and completely flips this guy's vote. It's like a 12-minute video, but it was awesome, man. I freaking loved it.
So the guy said he voted for Trump after that?
Yeah, he was, because he asked him, he was like, will you vote for Trump? And he's like, man, I didn't know all that. He's like, I had no idea that was the facts. And he said, well, I'll show you after the interview. He's like, he was recording on his phone. He said, I'll show you after we're done recording. He said, I'll show you all the stats. He's like, I've got all the videos of Biden, calling us, he was against segregation against segregation. No, for segregation in schools. Yeah. Not against. He was for segregation in schools. He called them animals or whatever. I can't remember all the. You ain't black. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
You ain't black.
The dude
Jack.
He continued. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. He said that the poor kids can be just as smart as the white kids, Stein. I mean, how could you not vote for him? Come on.
Exactly.
What a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's funny because same thing in this video I was talking about, this guy. He said, who did all of the rappers and everyone idealized in all their songs? Dude, Trump had... Dude, yeah, I was shuffling my old rap songs the other day, and there's a song by Ray Sherman, it's called Up Like Trump. Anyways, they had a song about him. You got Mac Miller singing songs about him. You got a bunch of rappers like in every single song talking about being as rich as Donald Trump. They idealized him, and now most of them don't exactly.
Because of the media.
It's funny how quick they can flip the script. Yeah,
but exactly. I think I actually saw this clip you're talking about. I think a big reason that they were drawn to Trump before the media essentially slandered him and made him out to be a racist was that he's rich, successful guy. He's with hot women. He's got, always had hot wives, girlfriends, whole 9 yards. He's a very masculine guy. And I think, black men can relate to that. So before they smeared him as a racist, his support among black men was actually high, and it's going to be high again. Where he struggles is with the women.
Oh, all right, Stein. Tell me your thoughts on the presidential debate, the last presidential debate before the election.
I thought the last presidential debate was good. I enjoyed it much more than the first. Trump came off as more polished and not quite as big of a dick as the first one. And I thought it was overall a good debate, and I think hopefully it helped him a little bit in the polls. What do you think?
I agree. I think he absolutely destroyed Biden, and I think that even on CNN, I think they realized that that did not go well for Biden. He addressed every single question Biden had. He brought up questions, asked about Hunter's dealings in China and Joe's dealings in China. I thought that was really interesting. Of course, he brushed it off as a Russian hoax, which they all are. I thought that Kristen Welker did a really good job, actually, for the most part. I mean, she didn't ask Joe all the tough questions. She was definitely asking Trump more tough questions, and she seemed to give Joe more of time to respond to stuff Trump had said. But other than that, I actually thought that he did a really, really, really good job, and he let Joe talk and then pretty much destroy him. I thought one of the most interesting things, to me at least, is the fact that Joe Biden, I think he's just a terrible dad. Like, honestly, I just think he's a terrible parent, you know? I don't know what he was talking about, how it's unfortunate in these cities growing up as a black male or female that your parents have to have the discussion with you to put your hands on the steering wheel when you get pulled over and say yes ma'am and no ma'am to the cop. I said, I grew up in a mostly white suburb in metro Atlanta. Okay. My parents told me the same shit. If you ever get pulled over, just put your hands up on the steering wheel. Let them see your hands. Let them know you're not grabbing for anything. Who cares if you're white or black, dude? Cops are on edge every time they walk up to a car because they don't know what they're walking into. They'd be walking into someone who's a felon who has escaped from jail, whatever, has a gun on them. And I thought that was hilarious. I was like, that is the worst argument I think ever, because that's a more of a downfall on his character than it speaks to the fact that black parents have to have that discussion with their kid, because everybody should have that discussion with their kid, and everyone should respect law enforcement and say yes ma'am and no ma'am. That's my personal opinion on it, and I just thought that was really funny.
I agree. Joel Patrick talks about that all the time. He has this whole segment, Driving While Black, and he gets pulled over a lot because he drives a really obnoxious, huge truck. And he says, I'm always respectful to the officer, and that, you know, being respectful and treating someone well, like they'll usually return the favor. And it's, people are pissed off, they get pulled over, and they cop an attitude. And I'm not saying that anyone, like, the cop should still be professional about it, but I think that if people just had a little more respect and treated the officers like you're saying, I don't think, white, black, I think that, we'd have a lot less issues. Definitely don't go for their taser either. Exactly. If you steal their taser,
it's considered a deadly weapon.
It's considered a deadly weapon because you can incapacitate someone with a taser and potentially kill them. You could beat them. It's still a considered deadly weapon. So at that point, they now have reason for force. And so,
yep. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I also thought that the way Trump kind of addressed coronavirus this time a little differently was interesting. He said, at one point, Joe said something about coronavirus, and his response was, Joe, like, the coronavirus isn't my fault. It's not your fault. Yeah. He said it's China's fault. Mm-hmm. He said, why is everybody attacking me? Why is everybody attacking Trump for this virus? Because whether you agree with his handling or mishandling or whatever you want to say, he first found out about it, it doesn't, change the fact that he had nothing to do with the actual virus itself, starting and being in that Wuhan lab or whatever. I mean, it's amazing to me that, everyone, it's like they're blaming Trump for the virus. They're blaming him for all these people dying. It's like, how can you blame him for that? I honestly don't get it. And I understand that he is our president and he should take some responsibility. Maybe he should have shut down sooner. But of course, when he did shut down, Joe Biden was calling him xenophobic and telling him that the shutdown was a bad idea and canceling travel from China was a bad idea. So if Joe would have been in office, we would have shut down months later and maybe hundreds of thousands of more Americans would have died. I mean, who knows? So for everyone to blame Trump for it, I just think it's kind of ridiculous. But who am I,
I agree. You know that. And I think people don't realize that Trump said this in the debate too, that initially the CDC came out and said not to wear masks. So he's been skeptical of the World Health Organization, who I think is in China's pocket, and the CDC, who I think the criticism is that, Trump didn't take it serious enough. He's anti-mask, but when you have a study that comes out that said masks aren't effective, and then they reverse course, and it's like he has a healthy distrust for experts and for studies, and I think now it's proven that masks are effective, but are they effective? Only effective if you're wearing them properly. And I every time I go out and I'm at a restaurant, they're pulling their mask away. I'm like, it's 40% effective. The ones that go over your ears if you're wearing it correctly. If you're not wearing it correctly and you're playing with it and touching it, how many times people touch their mask and like touching that, and they touch their mask and they like, if you're sneezing into your mask now, like, is it possible that it could penetrate through there? And then when by touching your mask every time you're addressing me at the table, is it possible you could be potentially spreading COVID?
Absolutely.
Like, do you think about all the potentially unintended consequences? To me, the mask is like, hey, you're not a thing. Like, the mask is like a diaper to catch if you sneeze. Like, I can't just be responsible and sneeze into my elbow. I have to sneeze into my mask. like so. And then I guess if you
I find myself touching my face more when I'm wearing a mask. I'm sure everyone else does, because it's just it's not necessarily a natural thing to do, wear a mask all the time. Yeah. So when you go to the grocery store, it's just, I find myself touching my face more. I'm constantly
adjusting my mask.
Yes.
And I can't, and I use hand sanitizer all the time, but I can't sanitize like enough where, I think. Yeah. So anyways.
See, but to the opposite argument of that, a lot of people say it's restricting freedoms or whatever by wearing a mask. And my argument to that may be like, what type of inconvenience is it for you to just put on a mask when you go to the grocery store? It's really not a big deal. Just if they're requiring it, just do it. Like, who cares? I agree with the fact that it's a free country, I can do what I want. Well, I got that, and I agree, but just put the damn mask on and just wear it. If they're requiring it, if they're not requiring it, that's fine. It's your own prerogative. But if they're requiring you to wear a mask and you still don't want to do it, the restaurants, I mean, you got to think, when every time you go into a restaurant and it says a mask is required, it's strictly because they're covering their own butts. And you got to think of that as a small business, right? So if one of their employees gets COVID, or someone in the restaurant because everyone else was wearing a mask and you were following appropriate protocols.
Stuff. I was on podcast. I defended him when nobody would defend him for that, because I understood those comments and what he was doing, and I called everybody out.
Talking shit.
Yeah, look, he was just being a guy with other guys. Yeah. I mean, he didn't know it was like he didn't know it was being.
He wasn't saying that for public consumption.
Yeah, can you imagine?
He was saying something funny. My friends have said horrible things to me, and I've laughed.
Yes, of course.
The thing that Billy Bush got in trouble for sitting next to him and laughing. He wasn't like taking a stand. He's on a broadcast next to a guy who's a crazy person who is literally known for being a crazy person saying outrageous stuff. His tagline is "You're fired."
Look, you know some of the stuff that women say about guys when they're just together and women chatting. I mean,
yes.
Dude, I thought that clip was great. I wanted to talk about that. Like, let's talk about the hypocrisy of these women. What are your thoughts on grabbing them by the pussy?
Oh man, that is a sensitive topic, because
sensitive area. You shouldn't just grab it. When you're a star, you do what you want. All right, when you're a star, you do what you want. Do you agree with this?
Oh man. Well, they live a different lifestyle than the majority of people, dude. That's just the way. And you'll have some famous person come out and be like, "That's not true. That's not the way that." But dude, athletes, famous men, it's just like women want to be around them and flock towards them. And I'm not saying what he said was right. He probably shouldn't have said it, but locker room talk, man, is a real thing. There's a book that I'm reading. Well, reading is a very loose term. It is literally like 20 pages long. Okay. It's a booklet. It's not even a book.
That'll take you about 6 months.
It's easy reading, Stein. I think you could read it.
At your rate, that'll take you about 6 months.
It took about 20 minutes to read the whole book. All right.
Took you about a year to read the book that I sent you.
Yeah, that's
a hard
true.
read.
It was not a hard read. I apologize for that.
It's okay.
I need to do better.
I thought you were a really slow reader. That's all. Then you beat me on the IQ test. Now I'm just pissed.
All right. So this book, It's called The Unreported Truths About COVID-19 and Lockdowns. Have you heard about it?
By Alex Berenson. I follow him on Twitter. Yes.
Dude, so his first book, have you heard the story about his first book?
If he wants to come on the podcast, that'd be fascinating.
That would be cool. Have you heard about his first book though?
No.
Okay, so he published his first book. Well, when he published it, so he published it through, he's done many books, and he did it through all Amazon, Kindle. Well, when he posted it at night. When he woke up the next morning, long story short, he had an email from Amazon that said that they couldn't post the book because it had fake stuff about COVID-19.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
So
yeah.
And then, do you know what happened? So he used to be a reporter for the New York Times, right? So he had a decent amount of followers. Like, he's a fairly famous guy. So he tweeted about it. Elon Musk follows him. Elon Musk retweeted it and then said, this is unacceptable. This is why monopolies don't need to exist. And within like an hour of Elon Musk retweeting his tweet, he got a email or a call from like the head of publishing at Kindle and Amazon and said, your book will be published in the next hour or whatever it is. So he literally, the only reason he got to post this book is because Elon Musk retweeted him. That's the whole book. Yes, dude. Yes. And that's what I wanted to bring up. I was like, Elon Musk, he just keeps coming around full circle, dude. Every time something happens, he amazes me, man. He's awesome. He's just an all around good guy. But the book itself is all facts, and he links there are a lot of like CDC articles, and he links all of them, a lot of news articles. So anything he talks about in the book is straight facts. So it's nothing, it's not biased. It's just facts about COVID-19. And when you read it, he pretty much states that it's being blown way out of proportion, essentially, and that the unfortunate fact about it is that it really just affects elderly people, and that if you're under the age of like 50 or 60, even, I can't remember the age, but if you're under that age, the chance of you dying from it is so slim. And also, the reason that we have so many numbers of COVID cases is because so many places are requiring it before you come back to work or anything. So even if you get a positive, even if it's a false positive, it's recorded as a case. It's recorded as a case, which is a case pretty much implies that a patient has symptoms, right? And most of these people never show symptoms. Yeah. So they're showing up as cases when they didn't even really know they had it. It's kind of an interesting, it was super interesting read, but it literally takes like 20 minutes to read. It's awesome. Everyone should go read that. And then there's a second one that he came out with talking about the lockdowns and are they necessary? And it's really, really interesting. So I think that anyone who's listening should go. I'm gonna $3.
I'm gonna download that. Hopefully there's an audiobook. I'm gonna go ahead and if they do, I'm gonna get that. Or
because you can't read yourself or what? Stein, come on, dude.
No, I have a bunch of credits on Audible. That's why I want to use them. But I paid $15 for the credits. So if the book's only $3, I'm actually getting ripped off. So maybe I'll just buy the damn thing.
It's literally like $3. You might be able to buy the set of them. $5.
Can I read a tweet from Elon Musk?
Yes.
We have to always talk about him, and I didn't talk about him enough. You were the only one talking about him, so I just wanted to read this tweet from 9 years ago. Sew one button doesn't make you a tailor. Cook one meal doesn't make you a chef. But fuck one horse and you're a horse fucker for all of history.
He actually tweeted that? That's not real. It's bullshit.
It's real, bro. Look it up.
Wow.
He's like,
what a legend.
He commented on it last April of 2019. So like 8 years later, he says, I was always crazy on Twitter, FYI.
But that's true, right? I mean, just because if you have sex with a horse, you're always going to be known as that guy that had sex with But if you're just an average guy, Joe Blow, you're not going to be known for anything.
I hook up.
You do one thing. You do one raunchy thing, Stein.
I hook up consistently with 9s and 10s. I bring back one grenade.
And that's what you're known for the rest of your.
And now Stein is in the fat chicks. It's the narrative. But I love that tweet because it's society now. You do one thing, and you get
absolutely. It's cancel culture. Yep. Hey,
unbelievable. How dare
can't make it up. How dare you?
So I think we got a really good episode. I think we just
this is locker room talk. That's why I don't know if we should all the way to the public. My mom listens to this, dude.
Sorry. I thought we were unfiltered and unapologetic.
That's true. That is true.
So
we are unfiltered.
When was the last time you said the word retard?
Oh man, dude, I guarantee I said it in high school.
You've been like, oh man, I could have
maybe even in college.
Been hanging out with you recently, not recently, but like I could have sworn you'd be like, oh dude, I'm not doing that. That's retarded. You've definitely freaking said that, dude. Don't act like you don't say the word retard. Like you're this all like that.
Okay. Yes, you're right.
For admitting
okay.
I have it on the record now. I'm gonna clip that.
You're right.
Put on my.
You're right.
Repost it on Instagram.
It's a slip of the tongue, Stein. Sometimes you say stuff you don't necessarily mean.
Doesn't make you a horse fucker.
It does exactly. Just because I'm just
trying to bring it full circle. Yeah.
I don't know if Elon would agree with that or not.
Thank you guys for listening today. I know Pick was quite vulgar. I appreciate you guys putting up with him. Pick, you have any final words you want to say?
Yeah, this is unfiltered and unapologetic. And if you don't like it, then I don't care.
Woo!